Welcome to the Mind Shift Movement Podcast, hosted by Alan Johnson. On this podcast, Alan will be sharing with you empowering, effective, and actionable knowledge within the fitness and mindset space to help you, the listener, become the very best version of you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now, get ready to dive into today's episode.
So I want to speak to you about consistency. It gets thrown around a lot on social media. I'm pretty damn sure all of you, if you use social media, have seen a post here or there where someone's just saying, all you need to do is be consistent, right? But what I'm going to go into detail about is, what do we need to be consistent with? Because I think a lot of people get confused by that statement. Just be consistent. Well, okay, what do I need to be consistent with? Do I need to keep being consistent with eating cake? Do I need to keep being consistent with getting takeaways? So I think people get a little bit confused. So a little bit about consistency first of all, right? So I've got a few different examples what I want you to think about. So what would you be better off doing? Okay, so exercising for 3 hours for 1 day a week versus 30 minutes for 6 days a week. So it's the same amount of time, 3 hours, but in one aspect you're doing it for 1 day for 3 hours, and on the other hand you're doing 6 days a week for just 30 minutes each time, right? I think it's kind of common sense what would be better for our bodies and for our health. Rather than doing all of the 3 hours up front, just on 1 day, and then being lazy the rest of the week, just being consistent with the 30 minutes a day for 6 days a week, right? Another example could be eating extremely clean for 2 days. 2 days in a row, really, really healthy as you possibly can, versus an 80-20 split for 5 to 7 days a week. So what I mean by 80-20 split is 80% of the time, pretty healthy, 20% of the time eating maybe the foods that you prefer to eat, maybe the not so healthy foods. So having the 80-20 split for 5 to 7 days of the week, being consistent with that, rather than being, all in, extremely clean for like 2 days straight. What would you be better off doing? And what could you stick to better as well, right? Another example is having 10 litres of water a day, all in 1 day, versus having 2 litres of water a day over 5 days. Again, what's going to be better for your health? What's going to be better for your body? What's going to be better for your well-being? What about having 24 hours worth of sleep in 1 day versus having 8 hours of sleep per night for 3 days? Common sense, right? What would be the better one? Little example with, I heard this on an audiobook somewhere as well, and it was an example of doing 3 hours worth of piano lessons in 1 day, or again, going back to what I said earlier, with the 30 minutes a day for 6 days a week. What would you be better off doing? Doing the 3 hours of trying to learn something new, all in one go, or being consistent with 30 minutes a day for 6 days. What about business as well? So what would you be better off doing? 100 sales calls all in 1 day. How is that going to make you feel? Are you going to be showing up for the last call like your first call? Or would you be better off doing 20 calls a day over 5 days, where you can be really effective on those calls compared to smashing out 100 calls in 1 day? So look, you get the message, okay? So today, talk about consistency. I actually attracted a brand new client from being consistent with my marketing campaigns. Okay, so I use MailChimp personally for my email marketing, and I've been marketing to this lady for 3 months, just basically free value. Every now and again I'll put a little offer out there, but this lady actually emailed me today and this was off the back of a free value email. Okay, so it wasn't an offer, and she just simply said that she's been watching me for a long time. She follows me on social media as well as the emails, and yeah, the email kind of just got her today. She was inspired to message me, reach out to me, and she's got started on one of my coaching packages, which is really, really cool. Really looking forward to helping this lady with her fitness as well as her mindset too. So consistency, really does pay off. So we should focus on improving ourselves every day and every week. So being consistent with the right kind of habits. So improving our daily habits, our weekly habits in regards to things like our diet, making those improvements each day, each week, eating slightly better, drinking more water, etc. Being consistent with improvements with our exercise plan. Okay, so trying to work that little bit extra every single week, maybe adding in an extra session here or there as well, and just getting into a consistent rhythm with it. Same with our sleep, working on our sleep habits, maybe some mindfulness. So just like meditation as an example, right? What's the point of when I find people go to start a new habit, they'll go all in too quickly, right? So mindfulness is a good one, yeah? Because someone might look online and think, I'm feeling a little bit run down. A lot of people recommend meditation. So do you know what? I'm going to go and do an hour of meditation or just say 30 minutes of meditation, and it's their first time. And they're going to sit there, because I've done meditation before. I prefer breath work now compared to meditation, and I'll speak about that on another episode or another Facebook Live. But yeah, so 30 minutes for their first time, they're going to really struggle with that because we've got so much going on in our lives. Sitting down still for 30 minutes to meditate may be very difficult. But we could do 5 minutes a day for 6 days, and that would be a lot more beneficial than doing 30 minutes a day for our first time and just 1 day a week, right? So you could be consistent with those kind of habits. As I've mentioned, breath work, hydration, your environment as well. So being consistent with surrounding yourself with positive, upbeat people that will positively impact you. Maybe having less alcohol, so being consistent with that habit. Maybe drugs, if you're into drugs, maybe having less drugs and being consistent with that as well. So being consistent with improving your habits, which I've mentioned, will lead to progress towards your goals. So when you see people online throwing that word around, consistency, and you aren't really sure what they mean by it, what do you need to be consistent with? So on this episode, on this Facebook Live, I've given you a few ideas. So you need to go and put that consistency in place for yourself. Now, what I have found with people is support and accountability goes a very long way to help you stay consistent. Now, this isn't a potential pitch for me to pitch you on my coaching services, but what I would like to offer you is I do have a completely free Facebook community group. So it's based around this podcast. It's called the Mindshift Movement Podcast Community. It's free to join. I've recently uploaded some recipes and meal plans just for an extra bit of value within the group. Okay, and this is free for you to join. Doesn't cost anything. So if you would like to join, just go over to Facebook, type in the Mindshift Movement Podcast Community, and you can join that group and be a part of the community. You'll be supported, and you'll have accountability, and it's all for free, guys. That is it from this episode on the Mindshift Movement Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch up with you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mind Shift Movement Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or Google Play. Share this episode with someone you feel would benefit from the content. And please leave a 5-star review wherever you download your podcasts. You can also contact Alan at ajfitmindcoaching@gmail.com or on Facebook at AJ Fitness and Mindset Coaching and on Instagram at Alan_Johnson_coaching. We'll catch you on the next episode.